Don't ever do that. Be very gracious and accept what they give you. Which takes to the next one, native hospitality. When they feed you, you accept that. You take in Alaska, for example, whenever I have been up there, and still to this day when I go there, they assign one of the ladies to make sure you have enough food. It's clean meat, they don't mind. If you don't like salmon, you're out of luck. And a couple places I go to, I have my plate, and if I have a caribou steak on the thing, and even get it partially eaten, they're halfway eaten, they're almost plop, and there goes another one on it, without even looking. They assign a lady to make sure that, one of the Eskimo ladies, make sure that you always have your plate full. But this hospitality is an accepting thing. Well, sometimes you have to say, I'm really full, I've already eaten so much. But thank you. Indian time. That has been a problem everywhere we go because they're never on time. I remember taking a visit tomorrow. We'll be here at 9:30. You go there, you're there at 9:30, nobody's there. 10, nobody's there. 10:30, there no, and that can get very frustrating. And but it's the same way starting with meetings. Sometimes we start a series of meetings at 8 o'clock and nobody shows. You go ahead with the schedule. Move ahead with the schedule. They get it after a while that if they're going to have any part of it, they got to be on time. But native time is a figment of the imagination sometimes, and it's something that's difficult to deal with at times. How can you say this and be discreet about it? I don't know how, but I'm always thankful when we have native churches that have some Anglo people who are leaders in the church. They start things on time. And the key is this. They'll learn, they'll get it. It isn't that they don't do it or it's against their culture and to be late for everything. Don't worry about it. Just start on time. Keep moving. Keep things. Don't change the time to meet them being late. It's just the idea that their life has not been based on time schedules. The only time schedule they go time-wise is the time for hunting, there's the time of berry picking, there's the time of fishing. These are the only times they know. Yeah, the detail of being on time, that is usually a problem. But if you're aware of it ahead of time, you make allowance for it. But don't change the time. Keep the meeting schedule going the same week after week or day after day. And they get the idea. But that's the problem we go through every time. We talked about working with native government in any way. It's very difficult because they don't make decisions like just one person. A leader makes a decision on things. They got to make sure everybody is in sync, everybody agrees, and sometimes that takes a long time to work out. in the ceremonies and the dances and things like this, a lot of times people will say, well, what about some of these dances? Do some of them have spiritism in it? Yes. But you know, the native people know the difference too. You go to Albuquerque where the biggest dances take place. They have what they call a grand entry, where people from different tribes will come in and do their dance, and there's competition and so on, but they take a real pride in their dances. There's, every once in a while they'll come up one that they know is spiritistic, and let me tell you, they're scary to be to. I've seen they'll announce, all right, now we need to let you know that this is a traditional dance that is spiritistic. And if you feel uncomfortable about it, the best thing to do is stay away. And we don't want any pictures taken. They let you know. But I've seen 2 or 3 of these older elders dance around a feather, an eagle feather laying on the floor, and all of a sudden the feather will rise up and just hover in the air, just like that. The devil would love, people. Some of them are off, and some spiritistic idea what it's all about and what it means, and every one of the ideas they have are different. It's usually confusing, very confusing to even try to believe in. But they have their dances, which some are very beautiful and competitive, and they spend a lot of money on dress and feathers and you name it. And if you are, quotes, in the tribe, basic tribe appreciates you, knows you, loves you, respects you. It's wonderful when our leaders can go to a powwow or a dance competition without even being asked. And we have some of our workers that go to some of these ceremonies, and they're especially announced from the front, we're so glad that Pastor so-and-so is here today. They appreciate you being there. But you got to earn that respect. What they don't want is busybodies going around with a brownie camera taking pictures, or not knowing what it's all about and being unrespectful in places where they should be shown respect.
You mentioned that last night, the powwows and the dances a little bit, but with the powwows, you said you shouldn't go unless you're invited. You just show up for powwows like...
You should go with somebody that invites you, that will stick with you.
So, and you shouldn't take any pictures of powwows even if you're invited?
If you're invited to, or always ask, can I take your picture? Just don't go up and snap pictures. Ask. Be common courtesy. That's really important to them. Because you'd feel the same way. You feel like you're treated like an object.
So, going off of this again, I've heard people talk, at least around here, I think they call them basically like an open powwow or a closed
Yeah.
powwow. And the open powwow, is that
Open powwow is for anybody to come. Yeah. A closed powwow, you need to be invited and be with somebody and sit with them. What they do enjoy, most places, we take our vacation every summer over at Wallowa Lake at Joseph. That's where we've gone for the last 5-6 years. And they have a lot of powwows and dances, but you got to know the closed and open ones. And they'll let you know, they'll advertise it, powwows, everybody's invited. You don't have to sing along, or, you hear the drummers beating on the drum, and they're giving their chants and their cries. They mean something, but you're never going to know what it means or what they're saying unless somebody can teach you and show you. You can't look it up on the internet or or read it in the book. Okay. Totem poles, I had that in there because you may. Do they have totem poles anywhere around here? Well, if you go to a place that has a totem pole, I build totem poles. And totem poles are there for 3 reasons. One is to mark a historical place where certain things happen that are of importance to the tribe, or what it does, it tells the story of the tribe. And you read the totem pole from the top to the bottom. In Alaska, you see a man with a beard with a stovepipe hat. That's Abraham Lincoln. Most of the tribes up there mark their beginnings at the emancipation. When the Civil War was ended, it ended slavery for Native people too. Different tribes were taken captive, other tribes, and so on. And it tells different things, and it's really fun to get somebody that knows what they're about to tell you the story, and you get a historical lesson of what's happened over the past 100 years. It's a wonderful thing. So, totem poles are read from the top to the bottom. They're for history or to mark special happening that is taking place here, or marks the spot of a cemetery, for example. You see where it has an Indian totem pole holding up, look like the 10 Commandments with things written on it. Really what it is this is a cemetery with the names of people written on it. And there's always someone to help you to understand what these things mean. Also, totem poles tell the story of a family. And by the way, when you go north of the border, totem poles and all, and families that are represented in the totem poles come through the lineage of the mother. The lineage of the mother, not the father. And just a note on that. Because children come from mothers, don't they? They don't come from fathers. Okay. We talked a little bit today at Sabbath School time about communicating with Native people. I hope you'll find that sheet a help in some ways. Now, when you have a Native work going, we found one of the most important things to do with the church is to develop a society within the society. What do you mean by that? Well, in Alaska and Upper Columbia Conference, we have a time when all the Native people get together. That's why our camp meetings are so important. They need to see the church. They're not just the one lonely Native family that are Adventists. They feel we're the only ones that are Adventists. But when they go other places and see there's hundreds of other Adventists, Native people, they don't feel so alone. They feel like they're with a definite movement that's going in the right direction. That's why our camp meetings are so, so important. Working with Native kids, one of the biggest things we found to be a help in starting Native work and getting Native interest is a Native vacation Bible schools. And what a Native vacation Bible school with Native people compared to other vacation Bible schools, Native vacation Bible schools are crafts, and more crafts. Native kids love crafts. And you say, well, where do you get them? Contact our office. We're getting quite a repertoire of crafts and where to get them and so on. Another thing is that we do, in comparison to other churches that have vacation Bible schools for Native kids, what they do, they paint faces and feed them pizzas, and that's it, That's the end of it. But we try to teach a gospel teaching with each one of our vacation Bible schools. Now you say, well, we don't have the people to do it. Well, we can get them for you. We have a roster of groups from Walla Walla and other places that we pay. They have come and do your music for you and lead the kids in crafts and things like this. So I'm hoping one day I'll get a call from this church saying, hey, we need a group to come and help us put on a Native vacation Bible school. We'll get on it. We'd love to have their names. But working with Native kids is fun. They love music and they love crafts. It's incredible. And we work hard to have Bible teachings because if you survey the vacation Bible schools that are put on by other churches and denominations, there's nothing quotes Bible or spiritual about it. It's just a playtime. But we have places like up above Wenatchee, the vacation Bible schools, where the tribe says, we want you to have our vacation Bible school because our kids learn about God, not just sampling different kinds of pieces and play a few games. Native people know when you're there to help them spiritually, and they appreciate it. Now, you say, how do you work with Native people? It's just one of the things I haven't heard from anybody here. But you notice all the things we talk about in soul winning with Native people? Work with Anglo people too. It's the same thing. Native people are just like everybody else. And when we work, the way we work is we get some commitments of people who become Adventists, Native people, and we work with their relatives and their children and their grandchildren and so on. And one interest leads to another. Pretty soon we follow through with families. You say, should Native work be kept separate from Anglo work? Oh no. It's beautiful when Native people feel comfortable in the church. And it takes the church working together to make that happen. The best thing a church can do is get rid of every bit of conflict in the church. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this, but I have seen this happen time after time. A Native person can come into an Adventist church and listen to a Sabbath school class, and within 15, 20 minutes they can tell you which families are having problems, what issues are. They just know, they can tell. But if they see genuine love and caring, they see that too. They're just that extra sense. They just can figure people out. They know if you're real or not, if you really care.
So I wonder if you might comment on something. So I imagine in other places as well, but certainly around here, there's some pain and bitterness associated with, I guess, Christianity or some of the mission down here. That there was, anyway, bad stuff connected to religion, essentially.
Yeah.
The kind of white man's religion. I just didn't.
When we do, this is easier to say, but hard to do. We run into this in one or two places here and there, in Canada, Alaska. We ignore it. I don't care what happened in mission here. That's the thing in the past. That's their problem. They need to deal with it. What we need to do is take care of ourselves here, now. Talking about our relationship with the Lord spiritually, with Native people. Native people know how to leave things behind, issues like that. They realize when they see, interestingly, we found that through the years, the problems we've had along this line are not raised by the Native people, but is raised by Anglo people that are by them. It's like you import protesters, and you have to deal with it. Now, 2 or 3 things I want to bring up. We are very careful. Watch out for our Native people because there are wolves amongst the sheep. And one of the things is it just seems like whenever you baptize a large group of Native people, all of a sudden people will show up. Like we just finished a series of meetings in Arizona, and we rented this storefront, and we had our meetings in it, and we had the big baptism and congratulating the people. And I noticed in church there's a group of people there. We've heard about this, and we're going to come and we're going to teach them about diet and Ellen White. You got to watch out for these kind of people because they'll end up chasing them away. They'll lay the standard so high of what you should be eating and should not be doing and what you should believe to the places it's overwhelming. And then there are those that see a new group of people, Native people, they feel like they have a special mission to tell them about the closing events or the sanctuary or things like this, because you're not teaching all these things. This is when we step in. And we've had to deal with some of these offshoot guys. And I've actually a couple times had to step up face to face and nose to nose with these guys, say, you're not coming here. You're not coming. Who says that? I said so. You're not allowed in this church. You stay away from these people. You can't make us. Try me. Try me. it's come down to things like this. And I don't know why, it's just like they smell fresh blood, you know, warm blood in the church that they feel they need to educate. I had one guy, he was just, he chased people out of the church faster than you can bring them in. And he started working with a group that we baptized up at Pocatello. And I told him, I said, you're not allowed to come to this church here. You're forbidden to come. Well, you can't make me. Oh, yes, I can. What are you going to do? I said, well, I'm native, and I know how to work with native people, and I have native friends here that can take care of you the native way, and we'll do that. We have to. Merlin, don't tell the conference I said this. Yeah. Also, we've had trouble with a couple child abusers. Oh, man. There's nothing that curls my skin more than cause my blood to boil than these kind of guys. And we literally had to go in, and this is what our office is for. You see anything like that happening, all we need is a phone call, and we'll be there to take care of situations like this. Another thing is what we try to do is the new converts, we make sure they get a chance to come by the union office and see a whole office dedicated to Native ministries. The church, they love that. And they need to see that we're not just a Mickey Mouse organization, but we're there to help them. And so, our most successful workers are those that have taught us a lot of things. Like, we have one fellow was very, very successful, and he built the All Nations Center there in the Yakima reservations. How many of you have seen the All Nations Center? It's pretty nice, isn't it? They're going to build one just like it up in Alberta. In fact, they're taking our plans. We've given them our plans. They're following them to the letter. But what it is, an auditorium like this is also a gymnasium. And it has a screen that goes and marks off the platform. That's sacred ground for church service. But the rest of the place is a place for eating. And it has a beautiful kitchen and a place where they have social activities. And we allow the Yakima tribe to have their meetings there, their government meetings there. And they love it. It's amazing. You go during the week sometime, you see hundreds of cars parked around our All Nations Center. And they allow them. By the way, you're very blessed to have a couple Weejohns here. And Terry and his wife are ones that are responsible for a lot of that. But they have programs where kids that are getting behind in their classes at school, that have problems with their studies, the teachers will assign them to a helper and what they're having problems with. And the bus at night when they take the kids home will drop off these kids. And some of our members there would take time to help the kids with their studies. And they have blood drives, and the tribe uses that facility. When they see that the church is wanting to be a community resource, it's a big home run. We started a food drive, food bank. And what a difference it's made. We started a food bank about a year ago where at the church where I'm at, and already we've had 5 baptisms from people who come. People respect churches that are there to help. And you take some of our native churches in Canada and Alaska, they become a resource, a food bank outlet. You got to be careful in running something like this. Financially, you don't get yourself in trouble. You can start buying commodities and stuff like this, and you can sink yourself very quickly. But we're there to help you. We have people that are whiz-bangs at stuff like this, that we can just, they'll come at a drop of a phone call to help. And when you have a group of native people that are interested, are showing interest, or are coming to church, and their kids are involved in the church, and they appreciate the church and they're friends with the church people, call us. We'd be happy to sponsor an evangelistic series of meetings the native way for you. You say, is that a promise? I'll bet my house on it. We'll be there. And we have, by the way, now we have 5 native pastors. 3 of the pastors are kids that we baptized 20 years ago that are now pastors. And it makes a difference. They really know what they're doing, and the native people love it. And they're more than willing to come and hold a series of meetings for you. And the native people love evangelistic meetings, just like you do. Any questions at all? What's that? I should have put, I thought about that when you asked. We're at the North Pacific Union office. Or contact the conference and they'll contact us. Any other questions? What school?
Charlotte is about 12 or 15 miles south of here. And there were kids that were like 75% Native American, 50% Native American, 25% Native American. I myself, I think I figured out was about 1/32nd Native American is there. And you know, I wasn't raised culturally Native American, but I find a lot of my way of thinking, like I love seeds and roots. I've heard Native Americans love seeds and roots. I eat potatoes and seeds. And so anymore, I'm not sure what's Native American and what's not, because I find so many people kind of, there's a connection there.
Yeah, it can get mixed up with registered native people or not. Every tribe has what they call a blood quotient, and that is the amount of native blood you have in you. Like I have 55%, whatever that means. And I carry a card and with a tribal number on it. And I'm a registered native person. And as a result, I get the benefits. You say, do you get money from them? Yes, I do. Every Christmas time, I get a check for $1,200 or $1,500. If there's any medical expenses after my insurance has done what they can in covering it, the tribe covers the rest. I never have to worry about a medical bill of any kind any time. But I have to be registered. before I'm entitled to any of these benefits. Now, every tribe has what they call a blood quotient. Our blood quotient is 25%. Are you 25% native? Well, then you're entitled to the benefits. You say, where do they get the money? The government gives allowances to them for health and education. And my son, my oldest son is a ear, nose, throat surgeon at Loma Linda. When he graduated from Loma Linda, he got a check from the tribe that paid his office bill. And you know what medical school bills are like. So there's some benefits. And all my children and my grandchildren, when they get ready to go to college, they get benefits paid towards their tuition. But it comes only if they're registered. Now, our registration blood quotient used to be 50%, 55%. Then it went to 50%. Then it went down to 25%. You say, well, how come it goes down? That means more people can be eligible. That's right. It's because the older people die off. And our tribe, my particular tribe, only has 235 older people, and I'm one of them, left. Well, they still have industrial leases and things like this where they bring in money and government allowances. Who do they give that money to? Well, they lowered the blood quotient to 25% now, which allows my grandchildren, they're all registered. And my grandchildren, by the time they reach college age, will be able to get government college subsidy help. Now, the reason I bring this up is this is what qualifies in the minds of Anglo people and of a lot of Native people, whether you're Indian or not, or how much you are. It's all economic. So, you don't want to get those two things mixed up. Unfortunately, there are a few older people who will be almost like 100% native that don't get any subsidy or allowances, medical or educational. It's because it's before they install the registration program. Did that help any? So, anyway, and it doesn't mean what you eat. Like, for example, one thing that I can't handle, it sounds terrible to my wife, she doesn't understand it, but I can't eat chocolate. I eat chocolate and my fingers and everything freezes up. Arthritis type of a thing. But it doesn't mean that something's wrong with chocolate. Or peas or corn or what else. You just use common sense. Any other questions? All I can say is we're here to help, and if there's any way we can help you with Native, when you start getting Native people in the church, call us. We'll have Native speakers come from time to time. We're at that place we can do that.
So, where are the 5 pastures you have now? Are they all in Alaska? You have
3 are in Alaska, 1 is in Oregon, and myself.
Oregon's not so far as Alaska is.
But we have some really dynamic native speakers that are Adventists. Brian Clatesby, and there's a few others that we're having, Ben Ellenwood. And let me tell you about these people. If you have an interest that you want visited from an Adventist native person, let us know, and we'll let one of them know. And bam, they'll be there. Okay, anything else? Any questions about anything we presented last night or today? Is open season.
Actually, I do have a question about Native Americans and marriage. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, thank you. That's one thing I was going to bring up last night, but I skipped over it, saving it. You know what common law marriage is? When you deal with Native people, you need to understand the whys and wherefores and the laws of that. Because there are a lot of Native couples that have been married for 40, 50 years that have never had a ceremony. They just have been living together that long. Or maybe they were married at one time and a breakup comes and they start living with someone else for a number of years. Every place is different. You need to find out the years. Sometimes it's 5 years, sometimes it's 7 years. But what we are very careful about is baptizing Native people who are just living together, shacking together. We need to be very careful about that. Or have been have divorced and without proper grounds for it. The problem is if there are some situations that are really sad, but if you baptize them, you know what happens the next thing? You got people lined up at your door saying, hey, you did it for them, you need to do it for us. That married somebody else, but never lost their membership, and they want to be baptized, be members again. You need to be very careful about that. That thing can go crazy on you. But we've dealt a lot with common law, and there's couples living together. They even have children together that are not married that want to become Adventists. What we do in our meetings, we have a policy. It's actually a policy. We pay for the wedding cake. We provide the ceremony and the dinner that they get married before they're baptized. It's not them, it's what it causes when we violate laws. I don't know how many wedding cakes I've bought. They're expensive. I didn't realize it. I thought, oh, you just go down and get a couple cake mixes and throw it together. No, instead it's $200-300, you know. But if that's all it takes, it's worth every penny of it. How many have heard of Native New Day and Native New Life? Oh, good to see your hand. We're doing a series now called Native New Trails. It's 13 videos on preparation for baptism. And we're going to be shooting the second one next week. And because we have some of our Native churches that are showing these videos of Native New Life and Native New Day in their churches, like evangelistic films, that they have people that are ready for baptism, but they're not pastors that put this on. They don't know how to prepare them for baptism. And so we'll be coming out with that soon. You really enjoy it. They're really well done and very beautiful. One of the biggest things that we're going to be working on starting this next year is promoting the videos, the Native New Day and Native New Life studies, where anybody can get it on their phone free. All you do is get an app, you got it. And so we go from village to village passing out cards that have on it how to dial into Native New Life, the finest Native evangelistic videos you can get. And we've already had several baptisms as a result of it. So that's what we're doing on a much larger scale.
So I think you mentioned this yesterday, we were talking, so you're gonna produce cards so we can.
Passa. You don't need to purchase them, we'll pay for them. We'll get them to you where you can, if you have,
For where they can just download an app,
yeah,
anybody can use them.
yeah. Everybody has a cell phone anymore. And especially the younger generation. So that's the big thing that's coming on the scene now. And we're just very, very pleased that the McKee family, McKee Bakery, have you heard of Stevens Foundation? It's all the same family are paying for it. And it's costing us, with what we've done and what we will be doing, over $1 million. But they're just so, by the way, the McKee family are Native. Maybe people don't know that.
So do you sell those DVDs that you have right there? The New Day, New Life, New Trail? Do you sell those?
You can get them in a CD. Yeah, and we can get them for you. Yes. Oh yeah, show them. I want you to say a few words about the.
Yeah, maybe I'll just come up here, because I was gonna share this. There's a mic on up here, yeah, it's going. This is some of the resources.
Anybody have a CD player that would like to have this? DVD.
So, what Monty just. Do I go to a different mic? Mike, here we are. What Monty just shared, I think is really exciting because with just cards, we can use those to hand out and give to let people know, and it's free. But sometimes this is maybe a helpful thing as well. This is a thumb drive or zip drive, and it has all of Native New Life, all of Native New Day, and Native New Health on it. So you plug it into your computer.
54 episodes.
Yeah, this is craziness. Anyway, I just can't believe that all's out on that little thing, but I plugged it in my computer and I watched some of it yesterday, the day before. And these are available. This is through the ones that produce the programs is Safe TV out of Oklahoma.
Arkansas.
Okay. Yeah, near Gentry. Where is it? Near, anyway, wherever it's at. And we go just Safe TV. Now there's if you Google this, there's also a movie that's Safe something or other. Just ignore that. That's not Safe TV. Believe me, it's not Safe TV. Anyway, Safe TV is an Adventist couple that have been producing programming that's safe for all ages, and you don't have to worry about profanity, you don't have to worry about things going on. But anyway, they're producing these. Monty has produced, done these, and then now this is available. This costs $150. It seems like a lot of money, but it's got 54 programs on it. So I think that's pretty cheap for what it is. And so we have that here. But anyway, we might want to collect a few of these.
What did you mean that Monty produces dummy things?
What did I say to you? I said you produced what?
Dummy things.
Did I say that? I don't know. Yeah, what did I say? Anyway, he produced all these videos, so.
You're very fortunate to have Merlin here, let me tell you. I respect him very highly. As he says he's going to do something, he does it, sticks with it and gets it done. Okay. Any other questions that you may have? And you know, one of the things is that I need to do is pass out my card. If you ever have any questions, just call. Just call us. That's what we're there. We're kind of a, what do you call it? We can, if we don't know the answer, we can always point you to somebody that does.
Because I have one more question. The Navajo Nation is developing a radio program. Are there any radio programs for natives in the Northwest?
Thank you for bringing that up. We started a radio program for Native people up in Alaska, out of Nome. Brian Waller, and it's been very, very successful. And we have radio substations from it in 17 different villages. And now others are starting to pick it up. I think we have 21 in all. But it's just a wonderful, the Native people love it. And whenever we come to hold meetings, we always have a good turnout in those towns because they've been listening to that Native station. Not only do they have Native news on it and things that are Native programs, but they play Native music. And as I was saying, they play every kind of music there is, both country and Western. And they love it. And we pick the music. Native people love country, Western. And so you could have it here. You could put it on right here. It only cost us $17,000 to put a substation in. It would reach the whole reservation. I think it's something that would be good to look into. The radio program they have down in Arizona is a little different. It's Dene Radio. They're putting up their own tower. You know, they're talking $1 million. And the tower is up, and it's starting to work. But they have different kind of programming. They have full-time workers that work the station with different programs. And I don't know exactly all they are, but they got a hold of our Native New Day, and they're broadcasting that, the speaking part of it. And we're waiting to see what the results are. But yeah, that's a wonderful program. I did a camp meeting for them and at Holbrook last year, and we said we were going to take an offering for the Dene Radio. And we had about 200 Native people there that came to the camp meeting. We took up the offering. You know what the offering was from that? $19,500 and some dollars from a Native group. People are Native members. So they put a lot of heart and sweat and money into this thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know what more to tell you, except if you ever have a feeling you'd like to come and be one of our pastors, listen to what the Lord has to say. Give him my phone call, and we'll come and visit you, because we're looking for lay pastors. Right now we have about 3 openings that we could put you in, and a stipend salary. It's like $2,000 a month, but you can eat on that. And we have some wonderful places in Alaska and other places. Right now we're trying to get a worker in Queets, which is on the coast, on Highway 101, north of Aberdeen, 65 miles north of Aberdeen, 34 miles south of Forks. And it has a parsonage. And by the way, all the places that we put people, we take care, make sure you have a parsonage, a place to live. So if you want to do mission work, or even for a year or 2, we'd love to hear from you. Or if you know of anybody that say, oh, I'd love to get into native work, give us a call. We'll be on it immediately. Our problem is that we get good lay people and we make good pastors out of them, and then the conference steals them. Dirty, rotten conferences. That's happened like 4 or 5 times. And because there's a lot of very gifted lay people out there. Okay, thank you.
Are we still on up here? Are we on? Okay, good, thank you. Well, I want to thank you very much, Monty, for what you shared this afternoon, this morning, last evening. Most of this should have been, what do you call that? Live streamed. So even though some of this stuff you probably don't want to get out into public, and just be circumspect with how you use it, but if you want to go back and review some of the information, you might find that helpful, because all of that is then recorded on our website, so that's available. Yeah, should have been.